All right, today I'm going to be taking a look at another Beast Wars Kingdom figure that I've been really excited about. This is Transformers Kingdom Wave 2 Dinobot. He's a Voyager now. And yeah, this is a really nice looking figure. I'm trying to trying to not bang his tail against the wall back there. But yeah, I at first when we saw images of this guy, I thought his dinosaur mode looked like super awkward, and it's not perfect, but definitely having it in person, it's grown on me quite a bit. There's still some weird stuff with it, like I think the thing that people have been complaining about the most is like the big glaring like leg joints right here. That actually doesn't bug me so much. I agree that like maybe it would have looked a little bit better if they had just, uh, sacrificed the slight bit of show accuracy for robot mode and just molded these in a different color plastic. Like, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that I can't actually tell if any of this color plastic. I think it is actually that color because I know like the pattern here is just painted on, but there is some very faint like mismatching color there. So this is actually just the plastic, not painted. But if they had molded it in that color or even the darker brown, like yeah, it could have hidden it a little bit more. It doesn't bug me so much. I don't really mind like some slight bits of like robot-y stuff peeking through the beast modes. The feet, I think, are the thing that bug me the most. I wish that they had engineered those so it sat more like flush with the tail, because like they clip in like this and just kind of jut out at this awkward angle. Whereas like the shape of the feet, they could have had it kind of contour with the tail a little bit. And there's still would have been like weird sections here, but not too bad. And then what's kind of funny is it does a little bit of cheating, which I'll talk about later, to get like the dinosaur mode head to kind of like flatten out on the chest in robot mode, and as a result of that, on the back of his thighs, he kind of has the eyes here, and then the midriff sort of waist section, which is a little weird, but I don't mind it that much, and I actually like better that I can see the eyes in alt mode, so it kind of like puts the cheating thing to rest for me a little bit, which I'll talk about. But yeah, and then he's got a purple tail tip here. I'm not entirely sure why they decided to do his sword in this purple color. It's because like in the show, it's really just silver. Like there's not even a purple tint to it. I don't mind it so much because I think it looks nice, but it has me kind of wondering about like where this metallic purple came from, because there's another figure in Kingdom Wave 2 that also sort of inexplicably has this metallic purple, but I think that might be paint, and this is just, I'm pretty sure, just molded this color, so I don't really know what the that's probably just a coincidence. But yeah, I think he looks pretty good in Dino mode. He's got his hands are a little bit floppy, but I think if you pose him right, it kind of just makes him look like he's doing the Dino hands. Not too bad. Posability, he's got some stuff going on. The head can tilt up about that much. It kind of like breaks the sculpt if you actually have him looking sort of normal forward, but having him like that, I think looks weird and awkward. But if you want to do that, like you have the tail kind of awkwardly sticking way up. But personally, I think he looks better like this. But yeah, the head can tilt up that much, and then when it tilts down, its axis is actually like right about here. So for transformation, it does that. So like it looks really bad when you tilt it down. But it's got a little spring-loaded gullet here to kind of make room for that. It's kind of fun to poke in. But yeah, the jaw for Dino mode can open up, and it gets about that much. The arms here, they're on a hinge here and also a swivel, so not a ball joint, but it gets about that range. Just a hinge at the elbow, which is always kind of perpetually sticking out to the side like this, and then a ball joint for the hand itself. So you can get some kind of natural looking poses in there, but like I think that looks a little weird. And then the legs actually don't really have that much posability in this mode. Like they fold out for transformation, but you can't actually like turn them at the thighs in any way. And then the knee joints exist, and then there's the foot joint, and then the swivel right here. But because the thighs don't move, like really the knee joints, you're not getting a whole lot of range there. Like it just looks a little awkward if you try to like put his knees in any other position, but it's nice that they can move. And then there's a sort of an internal swivel in here that allows you to kind of spread the legs out a little bit, just enough to make it look a little bit more natural, so his legs don't look like too awkwardly stuck together there. And then just for robot mode, the claws here can fold in and out because those will be his hands in robot mode. But yeah, show him off with his crew here. We finally got the season 1, original 5 Maximals all together. There he is with Thrilling 30 Rhinox, Kingdom Optimus Primal, Kingdom Cheetor, and of course Kingdom Rat Trap. And yeah, they're a pretty good looking crew. We are supposedly, I mean, if the leaks are to be believed, and it's all but confirmed at this point, we're getting a new Voyager Rhinox in Wave 2, or Wave 3 rather, of Kingdom. So we should be seeing that according to the itinerary for the upcoming Hasbro Fan Fest. We should actually be seeing images of the new Rhinox soon. So we'll see if it's better than this guy. I've got a sort of sneaking suspicion that they're going to for more robot mode accuracy, they're gonna like kind of do a cheat with the jaw in robot mode. Just a hunch I have. I don't really have anything to back that up, but I guess we'll see in a few weeks if my hunch about that is correct. In which case, I'll just keep this guy and not get the new one. But I'm excited to see what that figure is going to be like, just because this is a great figure. It looks great in both modes, but the transformation is kind of a chore. Like, it was in that era where the transformations were really overcomplicated. So seeing a new, simpler one, I think, could be nice. But yeah, they all look pretty good together. So to get down to transformation, so his tail here is his weapons. You can fold it out. You don't have to take it off at all in transformation. This is exactly where it stores in both modes, which, like, hallelujah. If you know how I feel about weapon storage, like I just I need it to store convincingly in both modes, and thank God this figure does do that. I wasn't sure he was going to be able to store this at all in robot mode when we originally saw the images, so I'm feeling really good that this actually has proper storage. Like, it's a little awkward in robot mode, but we'll get to that. But yeah. So you can leave it on, and I'm going to, just for the sake of simplicity in the video, but you fold out the legs here, and then down here, his robot mode legs are attached in here. There's a little tiny tab that's kind of locked in there, so you kind of take that and just get the foot around that joint, and then you can pull this section out. It tabs in there, and then also into this is the kneecap. It tabs in right there, so you can bring the legs down and straighten it out. And then you can take this section here and then fold that in, and then open up the feet, which this joint for the heel is pretty tight, but yeah. So yeah, that's basically one leg all done, and then you just do the same thing on the other side. Just kind of clear that joint, and that will kind of loosen them up a little bit. The knee, then that piece, and then the heel, which is pretty tight on both sides, but... And then, yeah, that's pretty much the legs all done. Then you just rotate this around, take the dinosaur mode head, and then fold it in like that. And then you can take the tail section here at this joint, or at this seam, unfold it and bring it around the head. And then the head will come back on this joint here and lock in. You see there's this curved piece that kind of goes over the joint there and clips in, and then there's a tab right here in front of the head that will go into the back of the dinosaur mode head like that. And then the tail here, you fold down on a double hinge, and he's got these two little tabs here that go into these slots inside this piece right here. They don't really both go in. You kind of do one or the other. And like, if you tab that one in, it's kind of at a weird angle, and this one is like mostly straight. Not entirely sure why that is. Just this piece is a little bit too wide to actually get both of those tabs in there. Not a big deal, but worth mentioning. And then the legs here, you take the intersection of the leg and fold that up, not at that joint, but at this joint, like that. And then take the section with the sort of faux eye section, that folds forward this way. And then you take this whole section and rotate it down like that. And then you kind of bring this out of the way a little bit, because then you take the dinosaur mode hands, clip it in like that, and then rotate it around, and then kind of put it into the body. And there's this little tab right here that will go into a little slot on the dinosaur mode hand finger, just like that. That's kind of how you want that to look. So on this side, just do the same thing, bring that up, fold that forward, bring the whole thing down, lock that in, bring it in, And then you take the arms, rotate them around at the shoulder joint, bring them down, and then fold the fingers in, and then hinge it. So it's like that for dinosaur mode. It's like that for robot mode. So the elbow kind of goes both ways. But yeah, there we have Dinobot in his robot mode, and he looks just awesome, super fantastic. I know a lot of people have been referring to a lot of the War for Cybertron figures, especially like Earthrise and Kingdom, as like mini masterpiece figures, and I think that this is the one that I feel that the most with. Not like it, shares design qualities with the masterpiece Dinobot per se, but like it definitely feels like it definitely flips over backwards to get a really show accurate model. And yeah, he looks really great, especially that head sculpt. Like that, you couldn't really ask for anything more than that. Like it's just perfect. Like, yeah, I guess technically some of those lines on the back should be painted black, but otherwise it's just like an absolutely perfect, stunning show model head sculpt. Like it just looks exactly like he does in the show. And yeah, he looks really good. I'd say if there's any details that he's missing that I would like to see, is that like it would have been kind of nice if they painted these white. Like his bottom half seems a little bit less painted than maybe like it throws me off a little bit. Not enough for me to care that much, but like would have been nice to see. But then again, like knowing how that stuff goes into the body for transformation, it'd probably be really prone to scraping that paint off. So, I understand. But yeah, he's got this one weird issue where he's got a bit of like space in between his waist piece here and the upper body, so he has a bit of like wiggle here. It doesn't really get in the way a whole lot just because it's so small a range, but it is a little weird. But yeah, to articulation wise, the head is on a ball joint here. It gets a pretty good range of movement just because the ball joint itself is actually like far up in there, so you get a good amount of expression from him. Then the shoulders are on a swivel right here. They're at a hinge here where they attach to this gold piece, and then also a hinge right here. So like you can kind of, vary how he raises his arms, which I think looks pretty good. Elbow joint goes a little over 90. Got a wrist joint, and then this wrist hinge, and then each of these, one piece, and then they can fold out for the fingers there. He's got a waist swivel. He's got universal joints for the hips here. He's got thigh swivels. This one is okay. It's pretty tight, but this one is like scary tight. Like I try not to move it too much just because like it's so tight that I feel like it might actually break that joint. I'm not really sure why that is, but otherwise it's fine. And it sucks is like just the way this guy's constructed, there's not really any way to like take this apart to like fix that in any way. So yeah, that joint is just like super tight. Not a huge deal, but a little scary. Then he's got hinge knees, pretty tight, goes over 90 there. Nice knee bend. And then the feet, they can tilt forward and back a little bit, and then they've got a pretty nice ankle tilt. So yeah, he's got pretty good articulation overall. And then you can take off the weapon here. So yeah, like this is pretty much just how it stores in robot mode, which I'm fine with, but I think, looks a little awkward from the front because you can see this kind of sticking out between his legs, but a lot of people probably just want to display him holding his weapons anyway, but I'm satisfied with that as weapon storage because he always kind of had a weird weapon to try to store, and in the in the show, it just kind of like his tail just kind of like sucks into his body for transformation, which obviously is not feasible. But yeah, you can open this up, and it sometimes is a little bit scary just because of how it has these little tiny tabs that go into these holes on the sword, and one of them is kind of tight, so it can be kind of scary because you're like flexing this piece to get it out. But yeah, he's got his tail weapon. You can have him, he's got these holes in the palms of his hands, so you could have him hold it as one combined thing. The fingers don't totally wrap around it in a convincing way, but it's good enough. Or you can of course take the sword out, which has its own little tab here, so you can put that in the palm, and that looks pretty good, and then have him hold the spinny weapon, which is no longer a spinny weapon, of course, in the other hand here. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I'll show him off with some of the other guys here. Here he is again with those original, all 5 of the original Season 1 Maximals. Most importantly, a rat trap there. And yeah, they look really good together. I think that scale works out pretty well. I think the only thing that's slightly off show model is Rat Trap probably should be a little bit taller, but personally, I prefer him being like really minuscule compared to the other ones. Like I think it, it jives a little bit better with the scale with like all of the other figures in my collection. But yeah, no, they look really good together. And then why not? Here he is with Air Razor too, who I'll probably look at next week or soon after that. And yeah, just waiting on Tigatron now, who's I think going to show up as a Voyager in series in Wave 4 of Kingdom, I believe. So we probably won't see images of him and this in this fan fest that's coming up, but still getting there. I'd like to see some of the other season guys now, but and yeah, here he is. Here he is with just another kind of like general figure that a lot of people probably have just for height. Here he is with the new Voyager Seeker mold. So yeah, he's a little bit taller than them. It's kind of funny proportion wise, just because since he's so like on show model, his head is like proportionally a lot bigger compared to his body compared to a lot of these other guys. But it's he still looks good with everybody. But yeah, he's a really good figure. I guess the one thing that's left to sort of talk about is yeah, he does have a bit of cheating here with faux parts, since in the show, his dinosaur mode head kind of flattens out onto his chest, which obviously they can't really do unless he would have had a really ugly, Velociraptor or, Deinonychus head in alt mode. So they have these kind of faux parts here with the eyes. It doesn't, I really am against cheating. Like personally, I'm sort of in the camp of like, if the design from the show is just unfeasible, then I'd rather they take liberties with the design rather than, with how functional the transformation is. I know I might be in the minority on that one. Like I think most people would prefer them looking as accurate as possible, even if, Optimus Prime has to like turn inside out with faux windshield and faux wheels and faux everything. But that kind of stuff is a real deal breaker for me. It really bugs me. Him, I don't mind it so much just because like it doesn't even really look like a flattened out Raptor mode head when all is said and done. Like the shape is all there, but like really, if you took away the eyes, it really just looks like his Raptor mode head is right here. And, he's just got other lizard bits around him, which is totally fine. So yeah, kind of wish the eyes weren't there, but I get that most people would probably prefer that they are there. But yeah, I can kind of forgive it just because like they show up in alt mode, and I can kind of like headcanon that like these actually are fake eyes on his chest, and that his real eyes, which you can kind of see a little bit in there, are just right in there. But that's that's getting kind of into the weeds about transforming toy philosophy. But yeah, no, he's a really good figure. Definitely feels like that mini masterpiece. It feels like they just straight up took the CG model of the head and sculpted it for this toy. Like he looks almost perfect, really, aside from like a couple painted details that would be nice to be there, but like you don't really need them. But yeah, he's just generally a really good figure, and I would definitely recommend him. He's the dinosaur mode, it's a little bit awkward, but like I definitely feel like it looks a lot better in person than it did in some of those initial images that Hasbro released. But yeah, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do BotBots reviews on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then other reviews like these on Sundays. And yeah, here we have Transformers Kingdom Wave 2 Voyager Dinobot.